Hello and welcome to the Data Analytics learning session. Today we're going to study the stages in data life cycle. Stages in data life cycle. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe the 6 stages in the data life cycle. We are going to study 6 stages, beginning with the identifying data sources, identifying data sources, 2, modeling data requirements, modeling data requirements, 3, obtaining data, number 3, number 4, or D, recording data, 5, using data for making decisions, and lastly, removing data. These are 6 stages in data life cycle. Number 1, identifying data sources. 2, modeling data requirements. 3, obtaining data. 4, recording data. 5, using data for making decisions. And lastly, removing data. Now, candidates, the first stage, which is identifying data sources, involves identifying the sources of data that are relevant to the organization's business operations, such as the databases, the cloud storage, the external data providers, and so on. So in data life cycle, first of all, the first thing to do is to identify the data sources. And such source could be the organization's databases. Data can also be obtained from the cloud. All right? If the organization stores data in the cloud, that could be another source, cloud storage. Databases, cloud storage. We may also have external data providers, external data providers. So in the during the first stage in the data life cycle is to identify what are the sources, the data sources. Where does the organization obtain data from? Data can be obtained from the organization's databases, data can be obtained from the cloud storage, and also the external data providers. So this is the relevant data to an organization's operations. Now the second stage is modeling data requirements. Now this stage involves defining the data requirements that are necessary to support business operations, including data formats, including data storage, as well as processing requirements. So modeling has to be done. In another lesson, we discuss about the data models or the data concepts, right? And we studied three concepts or models. Now, the modeling of data requirements, I've said, involves the definition of the data requirements that are necessary to help in meeting the operations or the needs of the organization. And that may have to do with the different formats. There has to be definition on how the data will be stored, how the data will be processed, and so on. So after obtaining data from these sources, then that data has to be modeled according to the requirements of an organization. Then the third step is obtaining data. And this stage involves acquiring the data from the identified sources. So here is identifying, then modeling, then obtaining data. You first of all identify where you get the data from. Then in the third stage, you acquire the data, acquiring the data. And this may involve data mining. This may involve data mining of the data. This may involve data scrapping. May involve data mining, may involve the scrapping of data. This may also involve the integration of data integration. All right? Data integration. Because this data we've seen here may be obtained from different sources. The data obtained from the databases, the data obtained from cloud storage, data obtained from external data providers may need to be integrated, what we are calling data integration. So all those processes happen at the point of obtaining data. These are processes. Data mining is a process. Data scrapping is a process. Data integration is a process. And these are processes that help in obtaining data from the identified sources. Then the fourth stage is recording data. Recording data. This stage involves the recording of the acquired data in the third stage. The data that is acquired in the third stage, in the fourth stage, that data is then recorded. And it has to be recorded in a secure and organized manner. Recording data in a secure and an organized manner, typically in a database or in a data warehouse. Database or data warehouse recording. Now after acquiring and recording and storing data in a secure and an organized manner, then that data can then be used for making decisions. Using data for making decisions is yet another stage in the data life cycle. This involves analyzing the data to extract insights. Analyzing data in order to obtain insights. Analyzing data to obtain insights that can be used to support decision making, that can be used to support processes such as identifying trends, identifying or making predictions or outcomes or optimizing operations and so on. Those are decisions. Okay, the data that is recorded can then be used to analyze the data. That data can be analyzed And the purpose for analyzing data is for making decisions, And the decisions could be in relation to the operations, can be in relation to the processes, can be in relation to identifying trends as analyzed from the data. It could be extracting meaningful insights. It could be predicting outcomes. It could be optimizing operations and so on. So that is step number 5. Then the last stage is removing data. Removing data involves doing away with data that is no longer necessary for the organization's operations, such as the outdated or the redundant data. And why should data be removed? Data should be removed in order to create space, in order to free up storage space and maintain data accuracy and relevance. So after data has been used to make decisions, then there could be data that may not be necessary. And we know candidates having data, for example, in the cloud can be expensive. Storing data in the cloud can be expensive. So the data that is stored in the cloud that is no longer necessary has to be removed. So these are the 6 stages in data life cycle. 1, identifying data sources. 2, modeling data requirements. 3, obtaining data. 4, recording data. 5, using data for decision making. Then lastly, removing data. Now, in closing, candidates, it is important to know that the data life cycle is not a linear process. It is not a linear process because different stages may occur simultaneously or in different order depending on the organization's specific needs and circumstances. So as much as I've been explaining from point A to point C, doesn't mean that at all the time all these stages will be followed. No, there could be a time even at the stage of modeling, at the point of modeling data requirements, data can be removed. In the process of data mining, in the process of mining data or integrating data that say is in the cloud, the organization can remove data that it deems to be unnecessary. So the stages in the data life cycle is not a linear process. Additionally, data governance, quality assurance, as well as security are critical considerations that should be integrated throughout the data life cycle. Why? In order to ensure what we call data integrity, accuracy, and confidentiality of data. Do you understand? I've made 2 important notes in relation to the data life cycle. Number 1, I've said that the stages do not take a linear motion, all right? I've said that these stages these processes can happen simultaneously. At the point of modeling data, data can be removed. At the point of identifying data, data can be analyzed. So it does not follow a linear progression. Another important point I've noted is that in the data life cycle, it's important to pay attention to what we call data governance, the quality assurance, security of data. Those are important considerations that should be integrated throughout the data life cycle in order to ensure, number 1, data integrity. Number 2, data accuracy. Number 3, confidentiality of data. And that will mark the end of the lesson, but I'll give you one question assignment before we take a break. Describe the stages in the data life cycle. That is your today's assignment. Make sure you do the assignment, and while answering this question, ensure that you don't directly refer to the notes. Close your book. Try and see if you can recall what you have learned today from your memory. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.